What's happening, everybody? I have an interesting topic for you guys today, and that is if you really want to make progress, huge progress, get a girlfriend. Now, I'm sure some of you went like, but hear me out. There's a great book called 0 to 1 by a guy named Peter Thiel, who was one of the earliest investors in Facebook, co-founder of PayPal, co-founder of Palantir, billion-dollar companies, incredibly successful, incredibly rich guy. And in that book, he's talking about this notion of huge leaps, really making a paradigm shift. And I can't remember exactly the example that he gave in the book, but I'll try to illustrate his point by giving this example. Think about a typewriter, right? A very classical mechanical typewriter where you literally have to punch in the letters to write something, right? And in comparison, think about the flashiest, most upgraded new version of a MacBook Pro, like 2020 edition, right? You could argue that those two are fulfilling a similar purpose, but they're not really on par. Like, it's a paradigm shift how you started from a typewriter, you went all the way to a MacBook Pro. Right, so you're thinking, okay, what does that have to do with me getting a girlfriend, right? Good question. So there is this notion that a man has to fulfill his potential. In fact, it's your duty as a man to fulfill your highest potential. And what's going to happen is when you get a girlfriend, especially if it's the right woman, she's going to drive a man into the future. She's going to be driving you there, kicking and screaming, just demanding for you to fulfill your fullest potential and become your better self. And the reason that happens is usually because of hypergamy. And hypergamy really means is looking for a better deal. Now, this hypergamy is something that both men and women engage in. Normally, usually for biological reasons. And normally, whenever you're faced with this, you're faced with two options. Either you break up with the woman instead of engaging in hypergamy, or you decide to level up, better yourself, and meet each other's needs, right? If you think about it, a queen is going to demand a king, nothing less, right? I'm not saying you're a king yet, I'm not saying she's a queen, but it's a choice. It's a choice where she's looking for something a little bit better, right? And most guys, when they think about a girlfriend, they think, oh, annoyance, taking away from my time, from my purpose. And again, there's a balance. This is a little bit advanced shit. And there's a great book by David Data called The Way of the Superior Man. In there, he's illustrating this with a great example, saying that a woman is going to be testing you. She's going to be throwing these tantrums or seeming tantrums just because she wants to trust you. Most guys interpret this as like, oh, annoyance, like, what did I do? Like, they don't understand this deep fundamental dynamic in relationship, right? If a man isn't on his course, if he's not staying the course, if he's not fulfilling his deepest potential, a woman cannot trust him. A woman would not be comfortable in his presence. That's why she's gonna test him and try to see and try to poke him and try to get the worst out of him, just because out of this good intention that she wants to see him become better and really reach his highest potential. And there is this notion there where David Data says a man is going to penetrate his woman the same way he's penetrating the world. If he is serving the world with his deepest gifts, he's doing it out of love, he's doing something that is really fulfilling him and pushing him to reach that point, then the woman is going to trust him. And if that doesn't happen, she's going to throw a test at him. And even if it does, she's always going to continue throwing these tests at you. Now, lost my train of thought. I remembered. I have a buddy of mine who very consciously engaged in this path of getting a girlfriend for the sake of actually developing himself. And man, did he made huge progress. Like, he got to a point, however, it was so intense for him that he, confided with a friend of mine, said, dude, this is getting a bit too intense. Like, I cannot deal with this. Too many tests, right? And I'm not saying you do it a little bit outside of your comfort zone for the sake of you growing, right? And it's just important to be aware of this. Normally, I speak about men. I'm a man. I'm speaking from my own perspective about topics that I find fascinating. And whether I speak with men or with my female friends, I'm speaking from a point of a man. However, it's important to say this. Normally, when one sex wins, both of the sex loses, right? Because you need this kind of dichotomy, right? You need the yin and yang, the masculine and the feminine. You need a balance. Normally, when this isn't there, you have a problem. And we could debate feminism, we could debate the men's movement. Those have done good things, those have done also very, very bad things and made a lot of damage. I'm not gonna debate this right now. The important thing is to remember that everybody came from a woman. And without women, men wouldn't even be here, right? Purely from a biological standpoint. This is obviously not the only purpose that a woman serves, but just from that biological standpoint, we will be extinct. So it's important to remember this fact. So yeah, like I said, this is not the only way you can make progress, incremental progress, but I'm talking about huge, giant leaps of progress. I was in a relationship, and that happened to me for about 3.5 years. I've spoken about this before in the podcast, and I really quickly realized, man, if I don't level up pretty quickly, this person is gonna leave. So that's where I'm coming from. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video. Done.